What if I told you? Just one whisper could break a billionaire's entire world. Richard was a man who had everything. Huge mansions, private jets, and more money than he could ever spend. Wherever he went, people admired him. Waiters rushed to serve him, and guests whispered his name in awe. Richard loved it. He lived for the power, for the respect, for the feeling that nobody could ever touch him. One evening, he walked into the most expensive restaurant in the city. As always, the room went silent when he entered. Heads turned, eyes followed, and Richard enjoyed every second. He sat down at a special table, picked up the menu, and with a proud smile told the waiter, "Bring me the finest steak you have." For him, it was just another night of luxury. But then, something happened he never expected. The young waitress came to his table, carrying the plate. She placed a steak in front of him, leaned close, and whispered words that made his body freeze. She said, "Sir, I know what you did 10 years ago, right here in this restaurant." Richard's fork slipped from his hand, clattering onto the plate. His face turned pale, his heart pounding in his chest. 10 years ago, he thought no one remembered. Back then, he wasn't rich. He was desperate, chasing success. On that night, in this very place, he made a deal that destroyed families, a deal that gave him the money to start his empire. He buried that secret, and he thought it was gone forever. But now this waitress, barely in her 20s, was staring straight into his eyes with fire that couldn't be ignored. Richard tried to speak, but his voice cracked. What are you talking about?" The waitress leaned closer. Her voice was calm, but sharp like a knife. "My father lost everything that night, and I've waited years to finally tell you. I know the truth." In that moment, Richard's billion-dollar empire meant nothing. The man who owned private islands and skyscrapers sat frozen, powerless. His money, his fame, his influence, none of it could silence a single whisper. And that's when Richard finally understood. Money can buy comfort, luxury, even silence from the world, but it can never erase the past. So let me ask you, if someone whispered your deepest secret in your ear tonight, would you be ready to face it? This was Union Show. Subscribe now for more gripping stories that prove even the most powerful can't escape their past.